Hi everybody, it's Claire and welcome to a bit of an impromptu tutorial. To be fair, it was a bit of an impromptu piece of work, but today I'm going to be showing you how I created this this beautiful big red ruby gemstone. Okay, so there's a little bit of a story behind this one. One of my really good friends from that I've known an awful long time turned around to me and said, you know, Claire, I'd really like it if you would colour me a giant ruby. So well, yeah, okay, I can't draw and gemstones are my nemesis, but hey, you know, you're my bestie, let's give it a go. And here we are. So this is framed clearly. It needs to be kept clean. Clearly it's a gift, but I'm going to show you how I created it because it took a little bit of original thinking on this one. So you're going to need a little bit of kit and I'll take you through that now. Right, okay. So as usual, I am using my Prismacolors. Going from dark to light, I've got black, which is PC935. I've got black raspberry, which is 1095. I've got Tuscan red, which is 937. I've got raspberry, which is 1030. I've got carmine red, which is 926. I have blush pink, which is 928. I have pink rose, which is 1018. I have deco pink, which is 1014, and I have white, which is 938. Okay, so let me just move this out of the way and I'll show you what else I've got to hand. So you will need, for this, you can see I've got various other bits of kit here. So you will need a clean eraser, clean rubber. You will need a decent quality pastel pencil. Now these are my Caran d'Ache pastel pencils. The reason I chose these is because they're extremely soft. They're very good quality. In this instance, quality does count. So even if you haven't got Caran d'Ache pastel pencils, they're extremely expensive. I wouldn't expect you to have them. If you want to try this out, I would recommend you buy one as open stock, which you can get on eBay or Amazon. This particular one, they don't have colours, names, but it's kind of like a very light peach, and it's 788581 if you needed the reference if you're going to buy one. Okay, you don't have to have a peach, you could have a very pale yellow. All we're going to do is use that for the outline rather than a thick pencil line for the tracing that we're going to do. Okay. Then you need a little tiny piece of blue tack. You need a Prismacolor pencil just for an outline. You just need a very light coloured pencil. I've got my peach out, which is 927, light peach actually, 927. Again, you don't have to use this particular one. You just need a very light pencil. You could even you could even use cream, but you might struggle to see that a little bit. So this is why I chose this light flesh colour. And then you need an kind of around about an 8B pencil, a thick, dark, soft graphite lead pencil. In this case, I've just got a Charisma pencil, which is 8B. Okay. Now then, what else have I got out? I've got a piece of tracing paper. You're going to need a piece of A4 tracing paper. Okay. So I'll just put that up there for 1 second, and then I'll tell you what brand I have. So I have the Dala Rowney. Okay, it's just tracing paper. It's A4, 60 grams. There you can see exactly what it is. Clear translucent paper. Okay, that's what I've got. Put that to one side. And then what you're going to need is roughly an A4 size piece of really good quality colouring pencil paper. Okay, so I'm just going to put that up there. So you need something with a decent tooth. Okay. So what I've got is I have Spectrum More Premium Pencil Pad. It's a 9" by 12" and you get 30 pages. Okay, so both of those things that I've just shown you, the two pads, you can get on eBay, or sorry, rather Amazon rather. Okay, now is where you need to do a little bit of research, because you don't have to copy me and do a red ruby heart. You could pick any gemstone you want, but what you're going to have to do is research some images, Google yourself some images. And basically you need, so if you Google gemstone colouring pages, you will find lots and lots of images that look like this, which you can just print off straight from your phone or from your laptop or from wherever. Okay, but what you're going to need is something that you research that shows you or gives you an idea of where to place colour on the same design. Okay, so I looked this up first, and then when I did some further research, I found that there was a coloured page, and if you look, can you see the facets are exactly the same? So can you see these two facets here? And those two facets here, they're exactly the same. So you'll need to research something, whichever gem you pick, research a colouring page image. Like I said, just Google gemstone colouring pages. You will get something like this, and then find one where you can also get the coloured version. If you don't feel like you need help placing the colour, that's fine, you don't need it. All you will need is this. But I found this extremely useful. Okay, so let's start. So I'm going to take my my printed image, and then I'm going to put my my tracing paper over the top. Now what I'm going to do is, because we don't want this tracing paper to move while we're doing our tracing, okay, this is what the blue tack is for. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit, and I'm just making sure you can still see everything I'm doing. I'm going to put a tiny bit in each corner, okay. And then we're going to stick it, we're going to match it to the shape of the paper underneath. And we're going to stick it down. Okay, so that'll just mean that the tracing paper doesn't move as we're going through this process. Okay, let's move this down a little bit. Right, so this is where our top end, high quality, lovely and soft chalk pastel pencil comes in. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to trace this image. Okay, so it'll take me a couple of minutes, so bear with me. I might go quiet for a while, but the reason I'm not doing it in pencil like you would normally do a tracing is because you don't want, if I just get the image back, you don't want an outline. Okay, so you don't want a pencil outline between these two facets. You need an invisible line. Okay, and that's what we're going to create with this pastel pencil. So bear with me, and we will trace out the outlines. And what I might do is, because I'm not going to colour the whole image for you, what I'm going to do is just colour a few of the facets, and I'll try to do one for every example of kind of every colour, if you know what I mean. So what I might do is I might just trace, for the sake of speed on the video, I might just trace half of this. I might actually just trace this half. Okay, or should I do this half? Let me think, what's the best to show you? What's the best to show you? Which half? You know, I think we'll do this half. And then I'm not keeping you too long. So I had to come up with this. This is an original kind of thing that I've come up with specifically for this page, tracing in pastel. Because, like I say, I had to figure out a way. If you look at this, there's no pencil lines. It's all just colour against colour. So I had to figure out a way of not using normal pencil, as in graphite pencil, like you normally would if you were making a tracing. Hence, I came up with trying to use a pastel pencil, and it worked really well. And I'll show you what the light peach pencil is for too in a second. Okay, so where does that leave us? And you could do this with a ruler if you want, but to be fair, I just did it freehand. Okay, so that's our half. That's our half a heart. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. Okay, I'll take this off. I'm going to turn it over. All right, I'm going to get rid of the printed page underneath, and then I'm going to take my blank page, my nice new white sheet, and then all I'm going to do is put the blue tack, oh, she says, flicking it away, put the blue tack on the other side again, so that when we go over this, the tracing paper isn't going to move. Okay. Now, if you're clever enough to draw freehand gemstones, you don't need to do any of this. You just need to get yourself a colouring, you know, an image drawn. But I think most of you will probably want to do it like this, to be fair. Right, okay, so we can put the pastel pencil to one side. Now I need to take my, I'm just going to leave these pencils out the way. Now I'm going to take my, come on, my raspberries run away. There we are. Okay, right, I'm just going to make sure that you can still see me. Can you still see me? Yes, I think you can. You can just about see that outline. Okay, I might actually zoom you in a tiny bit. Okay, great. Right, so in the normal way that you would do a tracing, all we're going to do is with our thick 8B soft graphite pencil, we're just going to trace over these lines, and what that will do is it will lay down the pastel on our piece of paper. Okay, and you just need an 8B or a, you know, a 7B or something like that, just because it's easier to do this. It's a nice soft pencil, so it's quicker. You could do it with an HB, but it would take longer, to be honest. If you haven't got an 8B pencil, then by all means use an HB. It's not going to stop you doing it. This is just easier. And you don't need to be massively accurate. You can see I'm literally scribbling. Literally scribbling. Okay, there we go. Right, now I'm going to take this off, and we don't need the tracing paper anymore. And then what you will see underneath, we don't need the tracing paper and we don't need the blue tack. Okay, so what you will see is I've got a lovely traced pastel outline of that image. Okay, just again, because the last video didn't work very well in terms of placement with the watercolour rose, but I think you can see that. Yes, you can. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my peach pencil. So we're not actually going to be doing any colouring with this light peach pencil. All I'm going to do is go very, very, very lightly go over this outline, because what you will find is if you just try to start with it on the pastel, because of the nature of chalk pastel, it rubs off really easy. So if you just left it like this and your hand's here and you're colouring over there, this pattern is going to come off as you're going along, okay? So bear with me and we will just very lightly do this. And you probably find it best, actually I'm going to turn this round just so that it's easier for my wrist to do this sweep of the curve of the heart. Okay. And the reason I'm using a peach is because it covers up very easily with any colour. So this was outlined in peach. You can't see any of the lines, can you? You can't see any of the joint lines because they're all covered up. All of the peach is covered up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to gently rub out the pastel underneath, which will just leave us with an outline in peach, light peach pencil. Okay, so I can put my peach to one side, I don't need that anymore. Make sure your rubber is clean. And all we're doing is taking off that pastel underneath. You couldn't go directly from just tracing with the light peach pencil because it doesn't leave a good mark on the paper. You need to get that pastel on there first. Okay, so there you go. You can see that I've got myself, and I'm just going to tidy up this couple here. I barely want to be able to see it. Barely want to be able to see it because it's going to get covered over, and I want it to cover over easily. Right, okay. Again, I'm just being super cautious that you can see me. And I think I will zoom you. No. Sorry, I'm just getting used to the new setup in the so can you see my finger? Yes, that's the bottom and that's the top. Yes, you can. I'm just getting used to the new setup in the studio. Right, okay, let's go back to our coloured image. Okay, so whichever one you pick in whichever colours, you don't have to do red. The next thing that you have to do is pull out a palette that matches the colours on here. Okay, so this is probably the hardest part of this process that you will have to achieve, is matching the colours on here. Okay, and if you don't have a very big set of colours, you may struggle a little bit. I'm not going to lie. You're going to need, you know, a set that has, you know, at least kind of 70 or 80 colours in it to be able to kind of get a decent stab at this. I've got the Prismacolor 150s. So let me show you what my logic was. So just look, take a second to look. I can see black. There's black here. So going from darkest to light, I've got black here. Okay, so I've pulled out my black. Then I'm looking at dark reds. Okay, I'm looking at kind of dark reds, like almost black. So can you see these here and here and here and here? So I pulled out my deepest red that's kind of like a warm colour. So I do have in my set a black cherry, but that's more on the blue side. We want a red. Okay, so I pulled out my darkest red after black on the red side, which is black raspberry. Okay. Then I've also got two other dark reds. So I can kind of see, after I've taken those out of the equation, I can kind of see I've got a dark red here, but not as dark as the black raspberry. So I pulled out my Tuscan red. Then I've got an ever so slightly less deep of a red here, in places like here and here. So I pulled out my raspberry. And then we went on to kind of like more of the pinks. So you can see there's little highlights here. Now it's still red. It's not quite pink. It's still red. So the carmine, my carmine is a good one for that one. Okay. And then we've got pinks. So you can see a deep pink here. A deep pink here. So I picked out blush. I've lost another pencil, I think. There we are. Sorry. Yeah, pulled out blush. Then you can see that you've got a light pink. You've got a light pink. So I pulled out my deco pink. And then you can see you've kind of got like a dusky pink. You've got, it's neither of the previous two. It's neither dark nor light pink. It's kind of like this one here. It's kind of like a dusky pink. So I pulled out my my pink rose, my pale rose, okay? And then clearly I've got my white. There's patches here where you need to blend in a little bit of white underneath. So I've got my white pencil out, okay? So let's put this here so that we can see what we're doing. Can you see that in full? Yes, you can. And can you see this in full? Yes, you can. Right, okay, let's pick a square. Because what you're going to do is you're going to take each one of these little facets in turn and look at the colours on here. Okay? So if we just look at this one, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to work, and what I did for the proper one is I worked, I started on the left and worked to the right. That's because I'm right-handed. Think about the pencils you've got in your hand. They're very, very dark colours. So if you're right-handed and you're putting black and deep raspberry on the page over here, and then you go this way, everything underneath is going to be smeared and smudged. Okay, so you're going to work from the left to the right. If you're left-handed, do it the opposite way around. Okay, so this little facet here, this one here, I can see it's kind of my my deep pink and my light pink. Okay, so I'm going to just pull out my blush and my deco pinks. Okay, and in the same way that you've seen me blend before, I'm just going to have a look, and then I'm going to put a little blend line about 2/3 of the way up. So I'm using this as a guide, a light touch blend line. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this outline, but I'm not going to go over it all the way around, because remember, I've got light pink here and I don't want light pink with a dark pink outline. Okay, so I'm going to, this is heavy touch, this is firm. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. Oh, that's not a good advert for Prismacolors. So I'm putting a lot of, this isn't, I have to say, this isn't the pencil, it's me. I am putting so much pressure through the tip of this to get the line deep. And they're not really made to push on that hard, to be fair. I know a lot of you don't like your Prismacolors because they crack, but honestly, that's not their fault. This is mine because I'm pressing so hard. Okay, so again, there's advanced blending tutorials and just, you know, standard blending tutorials on the channel. Go back and have a look at those if you want to before, you know, you start on this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to, whatever you do, don't be tempted to do this. Okay, I'm going to blow. Now I know some of you will think, oh no, that pencil dust is going to go into my lungs. But in this instance, you're going to have to take one for the team, because there's very little dust. I've done it, you know, for years, and it's never affected me. But if you start to do this, if I just show you, if I show you in the middle of here, because we won't be doing this centre section. So I've got my black raspberry. If I'm colouring in like that, okay, and then I do this, look, you get streaks all over the place. You don't want that, okay? We don't want that. We're going to have to keep blowing this off. You can get little like little brushes if you like, but to be fair, so something like this, you know, that you could just brush off, but to be fair, they do leave streaks like this as well, or can do. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my light pink, and I'm going to finish off this outline again in firm pressure. I'm going to go over the blend line of the dark pink, and I'm just going to block colour the rest of it in. It's that easy, okay? That's one facet down, okay? So let's look at this one. Can you see this one? This one here. Let me point to it. Let me point to it. So this one here. So can you see this has got kind of a tiny little triangle within itself, okay? So we're not actually, in the way this, we're not going to blend like we did this one. We're actually going to do 2 block colours and put this triangle in. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to pull out my mid red, which is my raspberry, and then I'm going to pull out my carmine, which is kind of my pink red. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my darkest. So I'm just going to outline myself a little triangle there. And again, just outline what you're going to colour in that particular pencil. Don't outline the whole facet. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my carmine. I'm going to finish the outline of that. Firm pressure again. And we're just going to block colour. It's as easy as that. Let's do one of the deeper ones. Let's do one of the deeper ones. How about we do this big one here? This big one. This big one. So it's this big section here. Okay? So it's not black. It doesn't start with black. Look, it starts with the deepest red. So I'm going to pull out all of my reds. So I'm going to pull out my... black raspberry, my Tuscan red, I've got my raspberry, and I've got my carmine. Okay, and I'm going to start with the carmine first because, can you see, this has, again, a facet within a facet. So it's got a triangle shape there. And I'm going to put that in first because that's my lightest colour. That's my pink red. That's my carmine. Okay. So, and again, you can use a ruler, but I'm just going to do this by eye. So it kind of goes like that. It goes into the corner in a straight line. Okay. And then it does the same at that angle there. Like that. Okay. Again, I'll do the outline like that. Block colour it in. Now we're going to go back to blend in the colours. Okay, so I'm put my carmine down. Now you can see we're going to start in this corner and work out over. Okay, so I'm going to start with my black raspberry. And it comes to, I would say, probably about a third of the way up. So I'm going to put my blend line in about a third of the way up. Light touch blend line. Slightly firmer blend line behind it. Okay, and then I can do my outline. So, but I'm not going to take my outline up to here. I'm going to take it to the bottom of where that bold colour finishes. So I'm only going to take it up to about there. Same on this side. Okay. Because your outline needs to be the same colour. Oh, they really aren't having a good advert today, are they? My Prismacolors. 2 of those outlines now, they've gone. Let me try sewing it in. That's a bit better. Okay. Like I said, I am pushing really hard because I want the outlines to be so crisp. Okay, and then we're just going to block colour that in. And like I say, you don't have to use a map. But hey, I needed a map, so I used a map. Found a map, used the map. If you're not using a map, can you see on here, you need to decide where your light's coming from. So if I didn't have this, decide where on your design, where the light is coming from. So in this instance, you can see that the highlights are here and that it's darker on this side and lighter on this side. So clearly the light is coming from this direction, and that plays on your facets because can you see the lighter pink ones are all over this side and the darker black ones are all over this side. So if you didn't have a map and you didn't want a map, just decide where your light's coming from and make the facets on this side lighter and the facets on this side darker. If your light's coming from that way. If your light's coming from this way, if your light's coming in this direction, this side would be lighter and this side would be darker. Okay? So we're going to go to our Tuscan red, which is the next but one darker of the dark reds. So again, I'm just going to highlight and then just gradually get lighter touch to where I want the pigment to finish. And I'm going to go right up to the line of that carmine. Light touch blend line in the Tuscan red. Slightly firmer behind it. What I might show you is, I know there's no real light ones on this side, but we'll do a light one next because blending the carmine into the pink isn't an easy blend. And there's a bit of a variation on the way that I've blended them to make it a little more seamless than it was looking originally. So when we come, can you see here, this is kind of carmine and then it goes into deep pink. When we come to do it, there's quite a jump between those two colours. And when I was blending them in this fashion, it wasn't seamless. It wasn't as seamless as I'd like it to be. So I'll show you what I did. Okay, raspberry. I'm going to finish this outline. Try sewing it in. and then it's not so much pressure all at once. And then we can just block colour over this, okay? And then just over the blend line of the Tuscan. Okay. Voila. Yes, let's do carmine to pink. Where is my... Yes, so I think let's recreate this one. Let's recreate this one, but on the other side. Okay, so we'll use this facet, and I'll show you what I mean about how to handle hard blends. Okay. So I'm going to start with my carmine, and we're going to go carmine through dark pink through light pink. Okay. So I'm going to put my outline to about there. That's where I want, I think, my carmine to just about stop. Okay. Now, very, very lightly, because this is going to be an underlayer. Okay, it's going to be an underlayer. We're not going to blend it in the same way that we did this. Slightly firmer again, and then firm pressure right in that corner. Okay, and then just kind of gently just scumble and make it smooth. Okay, because this is an undercolour. And then barely touch, just pull it out, and then we'll go to our pink. And like I say, I did this because going from carmine to pink in this technique, you can see it. You can see the blend lines. It's no good. So sorry, I've got my blush pink. I'm going to take my blush pink to about there. Okay. Now I'm going to move this, and I'm going to turn this around so that it's easy for my wrist. Can you still see? Can you still see? Yes. So blend line of the blush pink. Blend line of the blush pink. Slightly firmer. Again, this is just how I blend Prismacolor pencils. If you have a different blend technique that suits you better or suits the type of pencils you're using better, that's absolutely fine. Now, firm pressure. We're going to go over everything. Firm pressure, even up to the corner, okay? And it'll lighten that carmine slightly, but not by very much. It'll just give you a slightly darker pink. Okay, so can you see by putting that underlayer on, we've achieved a seamless blend between the carmine and the blush. Yeah, we've achieved a seamless blend between that and that. Okay, so I'm going to go to my my deco pink, and I'm not going to go right up to the edge because I want to finish it off in white. So just very, very lightly put in the blend line for this. Again, slightly firmer behind. And then firm pressure over the blend line of the blush pink. This is deco pink. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, so this would produce the effect kind of up to there. We're not going to do, I chose not to do the stars in Posca pen or something like that, because I felt that just colouring showed you where the sun was, so, or where the light was coming from rather. So we're going to emulate this bit of white here. Okay, so I just need to make sure your white pencil is clean. Gently over the blend line of the deco pink. I'm going to turn it slightly and just pull it right up to that facet line. And can you see, even with white, that peach outline almost just goes away. Okay, so that's one of the lighter facets. What else? So some of them you won't need to blend at all. So can you see this one here is just block colour. It's just a dark colour. It's not black. It's not as dark as this, but it's one single block colour. So don't be afraid to blend every facet. So if I take my, I had it in my hand. So if I take my black raspberry, and it was this facet here, just outline it and block colour it in. Don't think that you have to blend every single one. Just use the map. And if it looks like all one colour, then colour it all one colour. And you just keep going until you've got the whole thing done. And what is a relatively difficult looking gemstone, we've broken down into really easy steps, and we get something that looks like that, which I'm sure you'll agree is just lovely. Okay, so let's leave it there. I hope that's been really useful. I hope you give it a go. If you've got any questions, drop me a message and I'll put all of the kit in the title. Bye for now, guys.